Okay, so in this video we'll be working on with some examples, some basic examples of conditional executions. Okay, so first is, okay, let's say we want to create a calculator, but you are free to choose what operation you want. Okay, so to start, let's say create first our interface, our very basic interface. Okay, let's say print, going to display here simple calculator. Okay, then you want to present the user with a set of options that later he or she will choose. Okay, enter information and choose what operation he or she will do. Okay, so let's say we want to have, okay, let's have some form of layout here. Okay, and let's, to make our application or program somewhat presentable. Okay, so first is, let's say we want to have, okay, first addition. Okay, so later on these characters in between our parentheses would be our basis for the options. Okay, so let's say we have addition, then we have subtraction. By the way, I'm now using this different online interpreter since I've noticed some problems with our JDoodle. Medyo buggy gid siya, okay? And it happens more often than not nga, either it won't compile even though it would compile normally, or interpret, or it would not work normally. Okay, so far I'm using this. I'll be posting this in the description and also in our classroom so that you could try this yourself, especially for those who are relying on an online interpreter to program. So that's that. So next is we have our multiplication. Then we have division. Then let's say we want our modulo, okay, or remainder. Then we have power. Okay, I think we have discussed power. That is double asterisk. Okay, so power. Okay, so let's have here, okay, just a separator to differentiate the interface from our user input. Okay, so our first set of user input, we want the user to enter, let's say, a first number. Okay, so let's say we have first number is equal to input. Okay, then the prompt here, enter first number. Let's just use quotes here, single quotes. Next is second number. So basic operation, binary operation, or operation which involves two numbers. So input, enter second number. Then finally we want to have a variable that will hold the choice. Okay, later we'll test this condition using condition. So let's say we have an option. Option is equals to input, please choose an operation. Okay, so he will be entering, let's say, let's just specify it here, plus, minus, multiply, divide, modulo, or power. Okay, so let's have the colon here. let's choose an operation. Okay, so kana, let's try this first. Okay, it's a good practice nga dili na to diretso on. Let's make it let's take it piece by piece lang sa. Okay, para kung may error sa diri pa lang, okay, we'll get to know what that error is, and hopefully we get to solve that. Dayon. Okay, so in order for this to run, okay, just click on this button here. Okay, kana, I think okay, so far so good. Okay, kana. So let's continue coding. Siguro ato aning himuong kuan. Let's stop program to edit. You can okay, how do we stop this? Stop. Okay, before we need to edit, we need to stop the eye. Okay, so to anang ipatunga. Okay, to make it more aesthetic. So now we're going to test. Okay, if option, okay, and before that, it's a good practice that whenever you are trying to retrieve information, okay, or you are trying to retrieve information using a variable, it's a good thing to initialize it. Okay, so as much as possible, we should initialize it. So first number, okay, we expect this to be a float value, okay, meaning it contains decimal value. Second number would be the same. Then our option, this is actually a character, so we could set it as an empty string. Then the result would be the result of the computation. Okay, so let's have it like that. Okay, so later on we're going to update this information here. So we could create a comment here, variable initialization. Okay, then we could have it here, user interface. Then okay, this is not required, but again, documentation is proper documentation is highly encouraged para kung mudako ni nga program, or if you want to present this to another person, makasabot siya, especially if you are trying to introduce him or her with this programming language. Okay, then user input, then the actual operation. Okay, so if option is equal to, let's say kani, the plus symbol, so kana, then okay, let's just test here, okay, before we proceed with the actual operation. Print addition operation. Okay, let's then have elif option is equal to what's that? Okay, let's have a few options first. Then subtraction operation. Then else, okay, if the user didn't specify any of the character here, we could tell him or her that you have entered an invalid option. Okay, now most of the time you want to end the program here, okay, or in this case we want to end the program here. Okay, nga naman, since it already encountered somewhat like a user error, okay, so dili na siya angay ipadayon. So we could have the one how to do that in Python to force the program to close itself in a script. We simply write exit, then close and open parentheses. Okay, so let's try this out. So we run. Okay, so naatay error. Of course, that should not be equal sign, that should be double equal sign. Okay, so let's make it run again. Okay, so like compile error. Let's say butang ta first number, as long as it's a I think this will cause an error. Let's try. No, it's not. So 43. 43. Choose an operation, let's say plus. Okay, good. So it detected that character. So let's try 4, 5. Let's try have a character that doesn't exist there. Let's say X. Okay, so you have entered an invalid option. So you'll notice the program terminates. Okay, and okay, so let's complete this program here. So let's first deal with addition. Okay, so how do we perform addition? So we could simply have result. Okay, the result, the variable here, we're going to use this later to display, of course, the result of our operation. Okay, so result is equal to, since we are dealing with addition, so that should be first number plus second number. Okay, let's try and print this out. Okay, print result. So if we're going to make this run, first number 2, second number 4, enter operation, plus. Okay, so this is what I expected earlier. It gives an error. Okay, now here what happened is it didn't added these values. Instead, it concatenated, since input by default the data type there is string. What happened here is you are actually entering string values to this first and second number, essentially changing the data type for that. Okay, so the values 2 and 4 now are strings, and when you concatenate string, it will simply stick that 2 together. Okay, so since we want this to be float, later on we want to put the decimal values. Okay, that's why we're going to use float. So we could type cast that here. Okay, so float. Okay, float. Okay, so let's try. So first number 2, second number 4, let's say 4.5. Enter the operation. So as you get to see, 6.5 is the correct result. Okay, so let's erase this. So we're going to do that here. Okay, and the rest with our operation. Okay, so okay, pwede na ito i-copy paste para mas dali. So instead of minus, that should be plus, that should be minus. Ito lang na kopyahon pod. Be sure when you perform copy paste, okay, dapat kasabot pod mo daan sa code. Okay, it's di ba nasayop ang copy paste, but if you rely on that too much in a way that you didn't understand the code at the first place, then it defeats the purpose. Okay, so bahalag dugay mo mahumag type, okay, as long as kasabot mo, much better. Okay, so we have sa paman, minus, multiplication, division, and kulang pa ta og duha. Okay, so naapatay modulo and our power. Okay, okay, so let's change. Of course, we need to change the actual body of the block. So minus, asterisk, then we have division, percentage for our modulo. Okay, it will retrieve the remainder. Then here, the power. Okay, next is, what I'm going to do is I want to tell the user the result. Okay, in a much understandable way. Okay, or a much more appreciated nga manner. Okay, so I want that ingani. Okay, gusto nako nga pag, let's say magutang siya og magpili siya og addition. Okay? It will then print let's say 2 and 4 or 2 and 4.5. Then akong ibutang da is 2. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. So 2 plus 4.5 is equal to, okay, let's say 6.5. So gusto na ko ingana. Okay, of course that should also be true sa minus and so on. Okay, so in order for me to do that, I'm going to have a print statement here, okay, with a combination of concatenation and casting. Okay, so di na to panason para natay idea. Okay, so 2, unsa man ang 2? That is our the 2 here, that is our first number. Okay, sorry if di kay klaro. I think kani klaro na. So first number, so gusto na ako I hope you will not be confused with this. The plus here is used as a concatenator, okay, since I'm trying to stitch up strings. So gusto na ko 2 plus, okay, na space ana, okay, kani siya. What I'm going to do here is kani, ako nang gidugang nga space plus kani. Unsa man ni siya nga part sa ato ang code. Okay, that is actually our option. Okay, so I'm going to put option there. Okay, plus space na pod for this space here. Butang ng putag plus, then kani. Unsa man ni 4.5. 4.5, that is our second number. Okay, plus kana. Then we're going to write here is equal. Okay, so I hope na imagine ninyo sa itsura na. So is equal to, then kani 6.5. 6.5 is actually the result. Okay, result. So butangan nato na og period. So let's try this. Okay, going to run. So to ani padakon. So enter first number. Let's say 2.25 plus 4.75. Okay, pag enter na ko, choose an option. I want plus, kanilahit na lang. I want plus na lang sa. Okay, so natay error. Okay, unsupported. Okay, so again, when you want to concatenate strings, be sure that all of this should be strings. Now here, this is not a string, this is a float. This is not this is a string, okay, since this is the user input here. Okay, user input for the option. That is not a string, that is a float, and this is also a float. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cast this into string. Okay, para ma-accept siya diri nga print statement. Okay. Okay, so let's try. So gamit ang lahi. Okay. So let's say first number would be 5.76. 1.24. Gusto na ko multiplication. So gusto na ko asterisk. Okay? So pag enter na ko, so sige to see, 5.76 times 1.24 is equal to 7 this number. Okay? So if you're going to check that, so 5.76 times 1.24, so 7.14, so sakto. Okay? For now, we'll not be discussing how to round this off. Ato asang focus diri is how to create a simple application that utilizes, for in this example, a calculator. Okay? So let's say sa mato pwede pahimon ani. So let's say divide ta or power. Okay, so 4, oops, okay, I've doubled enter. So 4 to the power of 4, so that would be double asterisk. So 4 to the power of 4 is equal to, okay, I think that's the more or less correct answer. So 4 to the power of, that's not square root. Ito na yung 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, 256. Okay, so my calculator here is very simple. Kana. So, kana. Now, what if, okay, so, meron pa may pwede na to i-improve ani. Okay. So, what if mag-enter siya diri o, let's say, delete number, okay? Delete int, delete float, but a character. Okay, let's try that. Sa itsura na. So, first number na, 1. 1. Okay, so nag-error siya. Now, since this is a type error, we have discussed earlier typecasting, try except. Okay, we could use try except here. So, what we can do is try. We're going to try this if okay ba. Nawa siya murag runtime error. Earlier, we have encountered a runtime error. Now, except. Okay. So, if nag-error siya, okay, what we're going to do is print you have entered an invalid value. Then, we want to exit this out. So, let's try. So, 1. Okay, so you have entered invalid value. So, delete na siya mo. So, good. Let's say we have 1. Then, there is 2. So, again, good to see nga ni prompt siya. Okay. So, this is a very basic way of using conditional. Okay. And also, na po tayo gigamit nga try and except. Okay. Ang bago na to gi-introduce ani is kaning exit. Okay. In which you want to end the program in your code. Okay. Preemptively. Okay. Normally, your code will end if ma-encounter niya ang last nga statement. Okay. But here, we are forcing that to end. Okay. So, I hope you get this example. Okay, so let's try another one. New file, let's say, let's create a murag restaurant style ng ordering. Okay, let's say we're going to name this as Chow Panda. Okay, chowpanda.py, since this is a Python file. Okay. So, usual step, okay, ato ang, let's create our interface first, okay, so, Chow Panda, welcome to Chow Panda. Pwede na to ni, so, print, let's have, print, oops, let's type the menu here. Okay, so menu, sa may unang menu na to, let's say fried chicken. What I'm going to do here is we want the order to select a product, or here a food option. Okay, then it will then ask if pila ka buok yang paliton, then it will compute the total. So very simple, it's like an extension of our multiplication operation kanina. Okay, So, let's say ang presyo ana niya is 99.99. Then we have another option here. Okay. Saman. Let's say chow fan. Chow fan. I think that's correct. Oops. So, tagkuan lang na siya. Let's say 60.99. Then, ito pa man. Siomai. PHP, let's say tag 45.99. Print. Chop suey. Of course, if you're going to try this, you could change this print out here, change the price, change the options, okay? Para makasulay pud mo himog inyo hagyod, okay? Chop suey. Let's make it 30 pesos. 30 point na. Para di lang 99 tanan. Okay? Then print. Let's have it in a similar fashion. Okay? Na separator. So print. Please choose your order. Choose your order. Sige, kana. Okay? No. This should not be print, but instead this should be a variable. Let's say option. Okay? Now here, gusto nato ang A, B, ug C, ug D iyahang option nga selection. Okay? So input kani option kana. So once nakuha niyang option, so we could, okay, for that let's initialize some variable option. Okay, ana. So if option, okay, if option is equal to kaning letters dere A, B, C, D, okay, then we have, let's say we want to store also in a variable ang product. So kani sila. So let's initialize this. Product is equal to, kung A, fried chicken. So fried chicken. Then pila may presyo ana? That is 99. Okay? So price is 99, and as you could expect, na-put tayo price there 0.0. Okay? Then pwede pod pangutanon nato dire ang customer if pila ka buok. So you could ask quantity. Okay? Quantity is equal to input. How many would you like to order? Ana, okay? And since this is string by default, and we expect whole numbers here, so integer, then simply we get to have the total. Okay? So ang total dayon dere is total is equal to price times quantity. Okay? So very basic. And that would be repeated across the different option, but we should not be use if here. We need to use elif. So option is equal to B. Okay? So ito na lang kopyahon. Okay, be sure that the tabs are correct. So price, quantity, so that should be chow fan. chow fan. Ang price is 60.99. So, let's copy this. See, that should be siomai. Oops. Siomai, then tag 45.99. Then finally, we have D, which is chop suey. Ito na lang kopyahan. Chop suey, which is 30 pesos. 30 pesos. Okay, and last but not least, else. Okay, print. Let's say, oops, you have enter, you have, it seems that is not on the menu. Okay. Let's say your option, your choice, choose. Okay. Then exit. Okay. Then finally we have to enter, let's say, good morning. Good morning. You have ordered, gusto na ko nga ang format niya is, let's say, good morning. You have ordered, kung pila ka buok, let's say 2 fried chicken, 2 fried chicken. Gusto na ko ibutang dayon in parenthesis ang price niya. Okay, let's say 99 PHP 99.99 for a total of, so ang total din niya is, let's say, kung pila na, 99.99 times 2, that is 199.98. So na, gusto na ko ingana. I would like to copy this format here. So it's a good practice nga you need to imagine kung unsay gusto niyo i-print out kay when you're going to convert that in your program, remember that this would then be replaced with variables kaning 2, kaning fried chicken, kaning 99 ang total. Let's have PHP. Okay? So kana. So good morning, you have ordered, unsa man ako ang gi-order 2. So that is quantity. Then since this is a integer, I need to cast that here. 2 fried chicken. So punta na kog space. Mas maayo gid na inyo haning dili lang ni mata-matahon inyo gyud ning i-perform kay kaning mga spaces, kaning mga magsumpay-sumpay nga plus medyo malibog gyud mo ana. Okay, if salig ra mo nga okay nakuha na nako na without hands-on experience. Okay, so gusto na ko nga 2 fried chicken, so that is actually the product. 2 fried chicken, then gusto na ko ibutang siya within the parenthesis ang iyahang price. So that is price. Again, ato nang i-cast. Okay. Then our closing parenthesis. So kani siya nga part. So we could have for a total of PHP. So kani dayon. So plus total. Okay, Then ato nang i-cast na pod kay that is not a string value. We need to have that as string. Then finally butangan nato og dot. Okay? So kada. Well, pwede ba na? I hope pwede niya akong himuon. Ko ang para makita ninyo. Okay? So kana. Let's try. If dili, then I will revert this change. So let's make this run. No, I do not want this to run. I want this. Saan man eh? Should I, how do I delete this? Oh, how should I change? Rename, delete. Kanina lang. Okay? Kuha na rin yung kopyahan tanan. I'm going to copy this. Then, let's create another file here. Let's stop this first. Create another file. Let's say, unsa tong gihimo ito kanina? Calculator. Simple calculator.py. So, ito asa ning i-select. Ito aning i-paste diha. Then, kanisya, I want to replace that here. Okay? So, kana. So, if I'm going to make this run. Okay, so natay error. B, file mainline print. Unsa man ni siyang error? Programs invalid syntax. Why? Chow font print B. That is on line 10. Line 10. Okay. So walay closing parenthesis. Okay? So tanawon ko dinyo. Okay? Unsa nga line? Okay, basig makuha mo maning nga line ang print B. Okay? So kana. It's much easier to debug using the line number here. Okay? Ito ni padagan. Okay, nanapod. Mainline 24. Okay. Semicolon. Okay, do not forget, not semicolon, a colon. Do not forget colon for your, and nakalimot yan. Okay, nalitay else. Okay, so let's make this run. Okay, so wala na compile error. So please choose your order. Let's say A. C na lang. C. How many would you like to order? Let's say duha. Okay. So good morning. You have ordered 2 siomai. Okay. So natay medyo kulang diri. We want a PHP word here. Okay. But essentially or more or less medyo correct siya. Correct siya. Okay. Ang ihalang output. Okay. We would like to change that. So ato asa nang okay, dire wala siya nasubay. So we could simply chicken, siya fried chicken quantity. There is a price dire. PHP. So pwede ra no, pwede ra siya i-chop ang ato ang especially if taas na kayo. Okay? So pwede ra inganion. Okay? Let's try. Para dili kayo siya ingon ana. Think this is okay? So run. Okay. So ito ang siomai. Let's say duha ka buok. So good morning, you have ordered 2 siomai. Hanana po dikit ra pud kaayo. Okay, so just fine tuning sa ato ang kana. Mangita taglahi. Okay, let's say chops fried chicken. Okay? Fried chicken. Then how many? 3. So you have ordered 3 fried chicken for total. Okay. So as of now, di sa nato na concern. But more or less 300 ra bang gyapon na iyahang bayaran. Okay? So what if iyang gibutang diri is, let's say magsubay gyapon siya nga A but capital letter A. Well, let's try if mugana na siya. Oops. Okay? Ni trigger atong else. Ano man, capital letter A is not treated the same with small letter A. But what if we want our program ngayong ana nga if A gani pwede capital, pwede dili. Okay? So, we get to introduce a concept called Boolean operation. Okay? Unsa man yung Boolean operation? Okay? Boolean operation. Okay, Boolean operation is similar to our arithmetic operation, in which we get to perform operations, but in this case Boolean lang. So ni Boolean, a Boolean value, okay? A Boolean value is, okay, kanasan mo yung ginagamit sa tong conditional, true or false. Mao ginang duha. Okay, that's a Boolean value. It could be true or false. Now, an operation that we get to perform with that is, let's say, kani, or, what's that? Or and not. Okay, so those are three operation. Okay, unsa may buot pasabutan ni? Okay, this is you are comparing. Okay, it's very similar to how we have something like if x is equal to 1, okay, then that would, depending on sa value sa x, it would determine if it's true or false. But here, you are dealing with the Boolean value itself. Let's say true. True or true. I hope na discuss na sa inyo hani. I think this is discussed in discrete, math, in set operations, sa logic ninyo. Okay. So, true or true will actually equates to, saman, true. Okay. Or operation, by the way, okay, or operation, okay, if at least one of the operand is true, result is true. Okay, it only takes one operand for it to be true. Okay, so with that, if we have true or false, okay, that would be true. Okay, nay usa dere. So bahalag daghan kay na, let's say, or false or false. Okay, that would be true as long as na ay true diha. Okay, it will only be false if false or false, then false na siya. Okay? Now, sa tong end, all operand should be true. Okay? When all, if all na lang. If all operand, make it consistent sa tong previous statement, is true, result is true. Okay? So, diri pod sa ato ang or man na siya. Diri sa ato ang end, okay? True and true, since all of the operand is true, that is true. Okay? True and false. Now, since not all of the operand is true, so bahalag daghanag and true and true. If naay usa diha nga dili true, okay? And requires all operand, kaning mga operand to be true. So this will equate to false. Okay, of course, if ato nang bali-balihon, this is also true here. Okay, false or true. Oops. That is true. So the false and true is equals to false, then false and false is equal. Okay, well, let's try this. This might be different with programming languages, so let's check this. What is false and false in Python? So false and false. Okay, so false siya. Okay, so kana, it is really following this rule here, not simply, okay, inverts the Boolean value. Okay, but pasabutan na, if it's true, then mahimo siyang false. If it's false, mahimo siya true. So not true, okay, it is placed, okay, before the operand, okay, or before the boolean value is equals to false, okay, not false is equals to true. Now asa man nato ni magamit sa tuang conditional execution? You could use this if you want that the same, okay, the same action is applicable to, okay, that condition, okay, and you could do this, or you could make use of this, okay. It's like an enhancement for a test, okay. It's a more complicated test kay bale, or a more say tawag ani, a more specified, okay, nga test, okay. So let's work on an example para di ta malibog. So I hope na nakuha to ninyo, okay. So how do we do that here? Nga gusto nato nga gusto to A. Ang A is i-treat pod niya nga ang capital letter A and small letter a is parehas ra. So we could have if option is equal to A, or, okay, nga naman or man, kay gusto nato ito na option is equal to A. So regardless kung sa yang enter, kung A gani nga dako or A nga gamay, okay, then it gets to perform this step here, okay, kana. So here dili kay nato mako di kay nato siya ma-distinguish nga ang importance ani, but this will serve, or this will solve our problem earlier, okay. So let's try that sa A lang sa, okay. So let's choose sa A. So as you get to see, ni lahos siya sa tong part dere, okay. So tada sa na stop. But let's try changing this to end. If I think this will still do the same. Okay. What happened here is kani, it causes an error, okay. Kaya ang nahitabo ani, pag butang nimo nga option is A, kay nga capital letter, it expects that that value would also be A, but this would be impossible. Nga naman, lisod na siya kay what happened here is imuha namang what happened here is pag enter nimo dere, okay, let's say option is equal to A, mo man na iyang value dere na pag enter na to, okay. Pag test niya dere, option is A, so here is option equal to A, this is true, okay, and is option equal to small letter or big letter A, this is false, okay. So true and false, okay, this will result to sa may output niya ana, okay, that is false. And since this is false, okay, false na ni siya diri nga statement here, then of course dili man na B, this will also be false here. Dili pod na C, dili pod na D, and so on. So what would be left is ihaning mahurot tanan nga option nga dili na false na sila and diha siya mo padulong. Okay? So I hope you get the reason why nagpakita siya na. So we really need to use or here. Okay? So kana, let's erase that. Kana. So that should be or. Okay, so let's just copy this. Oops. Punta na ito na. So it should be B. Here. C. Or ano lang, paste. D. So if ato ni padagan, so let's say D nga capital, Okay, I would like 1. Okay, so you have ordered 1 chop suey for 30 pesos. Okay, so unsa pa man. Let's say we'll try small letter. Okay, small letter C. Okay, so 2. So it's working normally or as expected. So kana. And if you're going to enter, let's say, choose your order. Let's say butang tag 1. 2. Okay, so kana. So that is some examples of your conditional statement. Okay? Sa paman ato ang quantity. Okay? We could have, let's try. Let's say order nato is A. But yang how many, let's say 20 yang gi-type diha. Okay, so natay error diri. We expect this to be int. Okay, so sa may solution na to ana, we could use a try here. So try, take note, okay, naa siya sa sulod. Okay, I think we're going to do that individually here. So try, ato nang i-try. Okay, then we need to indent this, except. So we're going to print, please enter a valid number for valid number. Kana. So ato lang ning kopyahon diri kana. Since this is applicable to all of our kana. Okay, so let's try this. So let's say please choose your order C 2. Okay, napatay kulang. Money ang this will happen if you would not force the program to exit after this error. Nga naman, nagyapon siya gi-print kay ngani. You have ordered 0 siomai, total of kana. Though what it states here is essentially correct, okay? But we do not want our program to arrive in this statement if sayop iyang gipang enter, okay? So we could simply write here exit, then sa to andare exit napaman to accept dare exit kana. No. So I'm going to make this run. Okay, see how many would you like to order? Let's say 1. Please enter. So okay, what if we're going to enter correct values? Connection error. Okay, it seems okay, kana. So let's say D chop suey 4. Good morning, you have ordered 4 chop suey. What if mag-enter tag koan? Mag-enter ta og float. We want that it's integer. So let's say B. Then 2.5. Okay, so ni trigger gyapon ni siya. Okay? So very basic, very hopefully it's understandable or you understand here. So this is a very basic simple application sa conditional and even natay. So we have introduced here to ang Boolean operators, okay, or Boolean operations, okay. So kaning natay ngani or okay. So ana to magamit ang end. So let's try. So tanan kopyahon daan. So, let's create a new file. Sama ni siya. Ano yung chow panda, di ba? This is our chow panda. Ato aning kopyahon dire. Okay, kay mao man ito ang sakto nga code. Let's create another, let's say kanang we'll try to simulate kanang user login. Okay, so kana, let's change this. Okay, very basic lang. We want let's try ako ang goal diri is ma-demonstrate tong uban nga Boolean operation katong and ug not. Okay, so let's say again our interface. Okay, let's just emulate welcome to Facebook. Kana lang. Then print login. So print username. Is that username? Email. Email lang. Okay, email. And again, that should not be print. Okay, so email is equal to input. Kana, email. Then password. Password. So, sa tong email and password na atay, okay, though this is not really what's happening in Facebook, but there is an existing record nga iyahang i-compare if parehas ba. Okay, mao man nato ang login, di ba? So, let's say gusto nato ang iyang gamiton is admin@gmail.com. Okay? And password is equal to 1 2 3 4 5. Okay? Tsaka na. So, if email is equal to we should not dali na lang. User email, we need to not have the same variable here. Kay magsapaw ra na siya. Okay? And user password. So, kana. If user email is equal to email, so kani, and okay, and password is equal to let's have this user password is equal to password. So if this is true, okay, meaning if this is true and true, okay, iyan himuon. Okay, this will result to true. Okay? So if meaning pasabot na if ang email niya is parehas ani og ang iyang password parehas ana, then okay, print welcome admin. Okay? Oops. Ano to? Why? Nawala man. Okay. Na-paste na ko. Okay, I thought it was overwritten. Welcome. Email. Welcome admin. Okay. So else so we want to tell him user not found. Let's change this to user lang sa user to make it consistent. Okay, so kana. So if you're going to make this run, so email nato is, let's say, user@gmail.com. Ito, ang password is 12345. Okay, welcome user. So okay siya. But what if butang ta diri og 1 at gmail.com, but ang password is, let's say, correct. Okay, but wala na siya nag-exist nga user nga email, wala na siya nag-coincide. So user not found. Okay, essentially, since this is a different set of credential. Okay, now what if you're going to test if that is an admin? Okay, so let's say admin is equal to true. Admin, when you say a user is an admin, na siya mas daghan nga privilege, mas daghan na siya mahimo nga sa system. Okay, whereas when you're just a user, a normal user, okay, maka-log in ra mo na, maka-log out, and limited in yung experience. Okay, so pag log in niya, okay, let's say dire we want to test if let's try add here user admin. Okay, let's say nakana let's have it is admin. Okay, is admin is equals to false. Okay, then let's say kani siya nga pag enter niya na detect sa system nga admin siya. Okay, so we could have if is admin, if not, okay, if not is admin, okay, print you are not an admin. Okay, else print you are an admin. Okay, so kani let's say pag enter niya, okay, let's have it here user kana. If pag enter niya, okay, is admin, okay, is it an admin? Let's say let's treat that user email as an admin. Okay, if true, now welcome user. Okay, then depende na yun if this would be met or not, this condition will be met or not, iyang i-print you are not an admin or you are an admin. So let's say kani, so what do you think would be the output? So atong subayon ha, is admin here is initially set by false, as false. Okay, so pag enter niya dere sa ato ang, let's say, sa system, okay, giset siya nga true. Now our admin is admin variable is now set to true, then it will print that, then it goes to check if it's an admin or not. So if not, if this is unsa maning is admin nga current niyang status. Okay, it's true. Okay, not true. Okay, not true would result to that is false. Okay, di ba? I-negate man niya. So essentially, if this is false, it will print you're not admin. Else, it will print you're an admin. Okay, so medyo libog siya, no? Medyo libog siya. But if nyo yung subtone, it makes sense. But let's try that. Login. Okay, so user@gmail.com. Enter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, welcome user, you are an admin. So, sakto. Okay? If you want to make it not less confusing, actually, ako aram ning gihimo para ma-demonstrate ang not. You could write this ing ana, but don't forget to change this. Kaya ang lahi namang logic ana. Okay? Kaya if it is admin, if it's true, then you are an admin, kana. So, this will actually have the same output if you use, okay, the same credential. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Welcome user, you are an admin. Okay? So, that is one basic application sa ato ang Boolean operation nga not, and or. Okay? In this case, what if we change this to or? Okay, what will happen? Okay, this would be a disaster if you are trying to implement this in a live system. Ano man? Okay, what will happen is sakto ang email. So true ni siya dere, user@gmail.com. And dere is sayop. Yung gibutang is 65666 ana, that number. Okay, what will happen is, okay, you have let that non-existent user or an invalid password na posible nga na hack na iyang account, okay, but diri pa lang daan, okay raman di ay nga makuha nimo iyang username, so iyang email, so nakasulod siya ning abot siya diri. Since you're using or, which should not be the case, kaya ang nahitabo ana is true na siya, or let's say sayop ang password, false. But since you're using false, okay, mahimo na siya og you're using true, mahimo na siya og true. Okay? So, that you should be very mindful of that. Okay? So, that should be end. Okay, so let's save this to another file. Let's say login.py. Okay. So, kana, I think this is enough. Okay. So, we have demonstrated katong if, itong mga if-else, ito ang try and except, ito ang Boolean operation. Okay. Napod tayo gipang dugang nga mga code. So, hopefully, you get to try this out, and much better if mag-try pod mo own ninyo nga mga system that you might think would utilize this. Okay. So, kana. So, I'll end this video here. If you have questions or concerns, okay, always write a comment, okay, in this YouTube video section or sa ato ang Google Class nga section where this is posted. Okay? So, kana lang. Hopefully, you get to understand this, okay? At least, nakita ninyo ang iyang application. Okay? Kung asa siya pwede magamit, even though it's in this very simple level, but diha man na magsugod. Okay, this could also be applied to much more complex nga mga programs which require some form of decision making, okay, or error trapping. Pwede po na, okay, to check if it's a number or not. So we have already used that here. Okay, so kana lang. See you next lecture. So I technically end the discussion for conditional execution here. Okay, so expect to be seeing assignments, okay, relating to this later. Okay, so again, that would be all. So see you next video.